Welcome to an episode of Big Food Fast. My name is Joe Grado and I'm the executive chef at One King West. Today we're going to be making maple roasted white root soup. Today we're going to be using celeriac, which is celery root, parsnips, some Jerusalem artichokes. We're going to use some potatoes, some onions, some maple syrup. Then we're going to put it all together. We're going to dice our celeriac and our Jerusalem artichokes. It doesn't make a difference how big it is, small, large, as long as they're uniform, because we're going to end up throwing it in the oven and they're going to roast with the maple syrup. We're going to place it on our baking tray, and then we're going to season it with salt and pepper, and then we're going to top it off with a little bit of maple syrup and mix it all nicely. And we're going to put it into a 450 degrees oven to roast. We're going to peel a potato. We're going to cut the leeks. We're going to take the onion, and we're going to rough chop that too. And right now, leeks and the onions are in season. It's a fall season, so we're going to be going into less green vegetables. We're going to use potatoes to mild the flavor of our soup. So if we want to thicken a soup, we would use a starch, and our starch today is going to be potato. And we add our butter. Now we're going to sweat off our vegetables. Once again, we're going to cut our potatoes, and it doesn't make a difference what size or shape you're going to be cutting them in. It's going to end up in the soup and being pureed at the very end. I'm going to take 2 bay leaves. I've got just a very little bit of color on my vegetables, and this is when I'm going to add my potatoes and my water. And we're going to add just enough water to cover the vegetables. This way it'll come up to a boil, and we can always add water, but we can never remove. We're going to be mixing the vegetables into the soup, and then we're going to puree it. We're going to need a blender to puree our soup. I have an immersion blender that I'm going to be using, but you could also use a bar blender. I suggest that if you use a bar blender that you wait until the soup cools down, or else you're going to have an explosion. The pressures inside with the hot soup inside the blender will explode, and it'll cover everything. And now we're going to strain it. We're going to take a ladle at a time through a very fine sieve. And we're just going to push it through with the back of our ladle. And then it'll come out very nicely. We're going to make a little bit of a cream for the garnish at the end. Very easy, just take a little bit of whipped cream and we're just going to beat it. This is where I'm going to add a little bit of pumpkin spice. That'll give it the Christmas flavor. And this is where we want to add a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper as well. We're going to finish our seasonings and plate. We're going to put our whipped pumpkin spice cream on top of our maple roasted root vegetable soup. We have a little bit of sunchoke chips. And I took a little bit of parsley and whipped it with a little bit of oil, and we're just going to drizzle that on top of the soup.